This is Julie at Love's Beginning, and thank you so much to Trixie for inviting me here to Viral Alchemy. I had such a fun discovery that Trixie actually works next door to me with my neighbor, and I knew her already before she approached me about doing this. I just didn't know that I knew her that way. So I'm just very, very happy to be here. And I wanted to start out with a thank you because every time I get asked to speak somewhere, it's like I win the big prize on The Price is Right, because I get these massive, massive downloads that explain things and clarify things to me. They're so powerful, and I feel like it's you guys. It's the powerful light beings who will eventually hear this message, who've asked to see their inner knowing coming through me, who've asked to see a reflection of themselves just through this person today. Could be any person, and I get to deliver it. So it feels like such a gift to have all this helpful information flowing through me, and I feel a lot of gratitude for that. So, what my non-physical friends have been advising me is to settle down and let everything come from calm and peace. So what I'm going to do first is just take maybe 30 seconds of silence and just sitting and centering, and to let that message for all of us come out really smoothly and joyfully. So if you want to join me, just take a little while to center with me here. Okay, thank you. I feel like there is so much that wants to be talked about through me today, but the focus of what I'm delivering is that everything we encounter is helpful. Everyone we encounter is helpful, and it's all about seeing the light and knowing that it's there, and becoming willing to see it in everybody without exception, in every situation without exception. And the world we're living in right now is actually the world we're projecting with thought. So every experience we're having, we are projecting with our thinking. And this time that looks very challenging and disorganized, and everything changing and everything shifting, is such a huge and wonderful challenge for us to really understand that it's not our fault. We're not experiencing tough times because we thought wrong. We've been confused. And the best metaphor I can give you is that of the virtual reality game. I don't want to suggest that we are all actually playing a virtual reality game created by somebody else. And no, I'm saying this is a metaphor. It's no mistake that we have the experience of virtual reality in the world right now, because it's a very good metaphor for what we're doing. If you could think of everybody you've ever known or thought of as a pillar of light, just a pure pillar of light, but right now they are playing a role in this game, then when you were done playing the game, you would not blame any of those pillars of lights for their actions. Or maybe you wouldn't even congratulate any of those pillars of lights for their actions. You would have known that you're just all playing a game, and you're equally pure and equally gifted and equally loved, because you're all these pure, equal pillars of light, is what I'm being told right now, so I can understand. Because in this world we're walking around in, it looks like we have all these different separate characters we meet. But the point about seeing the light is that there's one light, and everybody, without exception, is that one light. And that one light can shine through all of us. That one light can operate all of us. So the great thing about things being really challenging right now is all of our old patterns are getting uprooted. And we have no choice but to let the old go and to allow this massive restructuring this massive restructuring in our thinking. Don't worry about the world, in our thinking, because it's our thinking that produces our experiences. So this is really a time to take responsibility. But when we take responsibility, it's a very good thing, because we all collectively have the power, and the power we all collectively have is equal. Now I'm telling this story about all of these light beings, you and me and everybody across time and space, playing this virtual reality game together, and I'm telling a very different story than we would tell about the characters in our world right now. We would not say that they're all equally gifted. We would not say that they're all pure. And so this is the big shift we get to make now. We get to see the reality of these beings playing this game with physicality, and we get to look on that primarily and know primarily that's their true identity. And then we get to see that blossom in front of us. I had a photo I was going to share with you guys that I forgot, so I'll post it after. It is a sunflower stalk in my backyard, and it has a whole bunch of sunflower heads on it, and they haven't blossomed yet. So they're all closed, but they still look really cool. And what my non-physical friends told me is that this is us. This is all of us right now. We're just, if you look in this, the main sunflower head of that picture, you can see those little yellow petals in there. It just hasn't opened yet. This is all of us. So we're in a profoundly good place right now. I wanted to give you a couple of examples of how everybody we meet is helpful to us. So let's pick a trigger. Let's pick somebody in a store who is doing the mask thing that you don't like, okay? So you might not have an opinion about it, so you might have to pick a different situation. But maybe you're somebody who wants everybody to wear a mask in the store. So you're going to think of somebody who won't wear a mask in the store. That would be a trigger for you. Maybe you're somebody who wants everybody to be unmasked. So your trigger would be the person who's wearing the mask or who's telling you to wear the mask. Okay, so pick your mask trigger in the store. How is that one helpful to you? Because if that one confronts you in some way or just sets off a spark of uncomfortable thinking when you look at them, I get triggered when I see somebody driving alone in a car and they're wearing a mask, and I just want to say, take it off, take it off, breathe. So that's my trigger. Okay, how is that person driving alone in the car with a mask on helpful to me? Because they're alerting me to my unhealed thoughts. My unhealed thought about that person alone in the car driving with a mask on is, how could you do this to yourself? Breathe. Take your mask off. Why are you doing this to yourself? Now that is actually my higher self's message to me. And it's about my thinking. It isn't about what's happening in the physical. That is the very funny thing about this comedy. You do come to see it as a comedy, even though we're projecting plenty of tragedy with our thoughts. It's all up to us. There is plenty of comedy in the higher self messages we can get from our thoughts when we're triggered. So what I'm actually telling myself is, stop doing this to yourself with thought. Let it go. Go down into the foundation of that being, the one who's driving the car. What is their reality? Who are they really? They're a light being. They're playing a role, and they're playing it perfectly for you. Look past the surface entirely. And that's something we haven't learned to do here. We're still very busy judging the surfaces of others, but we're going to learn to stop, and that's very good news. So look down past the surface of that one wearing the mask. Look at the beautiful, exquisite light being they are. This is something you can train yourself in. You just look down into their soul, and you see the light. And then the rays extend out from that, and then you realize yourself to be that. In the moment, I think that one in the car is suffering because they have their mask on. I'm in a state of suffering and agitation, and I have completely lost contact with the beautiful light being I am. But when I remember and I know that they're okay, and I know that I'm okay, then it's like the rays of these light beings meet, and minds are affected. Minds are affected by this. So all of these challenging situations, what are we going to offer everybody? Mind to mind, because our minds are always communicating with each other. Actually, we share one big mind. It's one mind. There's one of us, and we're always communicating across time and space with all beings. So what am I going to share with the driver of that car? I'm going to share grace. I'm going to share truth. I'm going to share appreciation. That's what I'm going to share, and then that's what I'm going to get in my life, in my experience, in my world. I'm going to look out and see it blossom. So we're right on this cliff, this edge, this precipice energetically where everything's coming up and looking pretty dire. What we're seeing is the collective result of all of our thinking. And we only have to take responsibility for it and allow a shift and see that shift emerge everywhere and everybody and everything. And that's why you can't pick a single situation that's not beneficial for us all. Now, one cry that I heard come out this morning as I was preparing to speak was about the children. Save the children. The idea of children in situations that are beyond their control being abused, and the idea that this must stop now, and what do we do? So this was coming to me, and if I'm asking my non-physical friends, okay, what do I say about this? What do we do? And the primary thing I was told is this ability to see them as they are. What I heard is you must empower them, and you can do that mind to mind. Most of you have absolutely no idea how powerful your minds are and how powerful you are when you're sitting still, because we're very afraid, and we go into action when we're afraid, and I still do it. And I'm learning to undo it. I'm learning to do a whole lot of mind work. That doesn't mean that action is never called for. Certainly it is. And when it's called for, it's inspired and it's clear and it's obvious. That's the other good news. We're moving into a modality where the action is inspired and clear and obvious. And we're going to move into that modality for everybody without exception. So empower the children. What are you seeing? Are you seeing a victim? Are you seeing an abused person? Are you looking at the abuse? Could you go deeper? Could you go deeper into that being or those beings right this moment? Could you go deeper, 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 deeper? Because they might not know how to go that deep in themselves because you're connected to their minds right now. Can you go deeper into the light they are? There we go. There it is. The core, like the core of the sun and every being, there it is. And then can you see the rays shining out from that child or all those children? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Right now, mind to mind, you are empowering them. And it can be hard to believe in, but to believe that's more effective than complaining about somebody or accusing somebody or seeing somebody as a victim. But remember, your thoughts dictate the reality you're going to step into next. What my non-physical friends tell me is with every thought, this is like a rough, very simple example they give me so I can just begin to comprehend. With every thought, with every step, you step into one of 1,000 realities. Which one are you going to step into? Are you going to step into the one where everybody's healing and becoming happy and whole? Or are you going to extend suffering with intent by focusing upon it? That doesn't mean we don't help people. Of course we help people. You know, the people in your life, if you see a child fall down, you help. It's a very natural instinct to be helpful that way, and we can trust it. It's alive in all of us. But this mind-to-mind power we have been ignoring. So you're looking at the children, and you can see the rays extending from all of them. You're helping to empower them right now, because every being has the power to work and perform miracles, but most of us don't know it yet. We just don't know it, and we're not practiced in it, and we're not used to allowing that to flow through us. This is a time when we learn that. So when you're thinking of the children, you're going to empower them to be in their situation in a way that's very helpful and healing for everybody involved in that situation. And I also mean the ones we're seeing as villains, without exception. And this is another thing we're learning from this time period. We're learning to look at all the villains and to forget the surface, at least for a moment. I know it seems hard because it seems like if I forget the surface, I won't be helpful. I won't save somebody. I won't stop some actions that are wrong. That's it's like an upside down way of looking at things. We're used to looking at things that way, and it's okay. But we're moving out of this modality of seeing things that way. The villains are also light beings playing this game in physicality. And the way they trigger us is a reflection of our unhealed beliefs. And as we allow all of those beliefs to heal, those thoughts to heal, we step into timelines, successive timelines, where we allow the versions of those characters to appear to us as healed and whole. Imagine that you wanted to enter duality, so you needed to be a villain to appear, so you could be a good one by comparison. Now imagine a different version of that reality, where the villain is the good person, and they need you to enact the villain role so they could be the good person. That's kind of how this works. We have to stop needing to see victims and villains, and we have to start seeing the reality of the light being that everybody is. So if you've done it with a child, you can also do it with the villain. You just go down, 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 down into who they really are prior to this body, prior to all the bodies they've ever experienced, prior to everything, and all you can see is the light they are. And then you can start to see the rays of light shine out from them too. And as you see that, then you can see the rays of light they are join with the rays of light the child is. Then you can see, you who observe, you're just the same as they are. You can start to see the rays of light you are join with the children and with the villains. Okay? Then we're all in the light together. Then what happens next? What timeline do you step into next? What are you offering to the villain? Because in every moment, every second that you think about them, you're offering them something. And you might be offering them the opportunity to seek healing and to stop certain actions and start other actions. Or if you're thinking of them in a way of hatred, you're asking them to go further into their actions and to try to hide there and try to find safety there, because that's what they know right now. They have certain ways of seeking comfort and power, and that's what they know. And when we send them hatred, they just try to burrow further into that. But if they know we love them, if they can feel that, there's like a relaxation around them, and they're able to relax into what they really are and show up as a reflection more and more increasingly of what they really are. So some of us are called to this energetic work primarily, and you may be one of those. You probably are in a group like this. And this is the energetic work we're all walking into. Because when we see a villain outside of ourselves, it is because we're afraid. And so we've projected a world where the wrongdoer is somebody else. Well, what we've yet to fully realize is that none of us is a wrongdoer, because the reality of any being is not what's happening here. The reality of any being is just the light they are, is just the purity they are. That's it. It's always very simple. Everybody is love, and that's it. But when you come into a world where you're making experience with thought, you're making all this different experience, and you're all doing it together. And what we're all learning to do together is to look underneath everything we've been making, to see the reality of ourselves, all of us without exception. And then that's what causes us to step into the next timeline, successive timelines of healing. And these timelines merge then. You don't need so many different chaotic timelines. In the end, way off in the end, you only need one complete timeline of peace and happiness for every being, where everything is merged. That's where we're headed. We're on the journey. We're on the ride. So I hope some of what I said resonates or makes sense to you. But no matter what, if you have something to say about it, please do let me know. And thank you for the invitation. It was great to be here today.